Firstly, Adam, thank you. Adam, thank you for giving me opportunity to interview you for my YouTube channel and podcast.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
So I thought to tell about you and the work you are doing to my audience.
And the work what, sorry?
You and your work.
Okay. What would you like to know?
So I want to tell about you and your work to my audience. Can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Sure. My name is Adam. I'm an entrepreneur, the founder and CEO of a company called Speedlancer, which is a freelancing marketplace platform. Instead of hiring an individual, you can purchase a pre-made workflow from us, and that routes out tasks to dozens of freelancers in a certain order. We specialize in delivering marketing campaigns and such. I started as an entrepreneur when I was 11 or 12 selling toys on eBay. And when I was 14, I had a e-commerce website way before Shopify and Stripe, and we became the biggest site in our niche. So we had 500,000 visitors a month coming to the site, and it was totally bootstrapped. And that's how I got into the world of freelancing and hiring people. Since when I was in high school and university, I couldn't hire people to sit next to me and do work.
So what made you to put this name?
Speedlancer?
Yes.
I mean, it's like fast and freelancing, so it sounds a bit like freelancer.
Awesome. So, how you said that it came before Shopify. So, what made you to start it at the age of 11?
That was my e-commerce website. Well, I was using eBay the first instance, and then I progressed onto creating a custom-built platform because eBay just wasn't really doing it, and they didn't have the audience for our products necessarily. So all of our traffic was coming from Google, and we needed to have our own web presence. So I think sometimes one thing just leads to another if you're open enough to see it that way. Like sometimes an opportunity presents itself and you can either say yes or no. And it's terrifying to say yes. Like right now we're launching a SaaS product, which I've never done before, software as a service. And it is terrifying to launch something new. But we're doing it. So yeah, it's an interesting entrepreneurial experience launching something new.
So you give workforce to the companies.
Sorry?
You give workforce to the companies.
Yeah, that's what we do at Speedlancers. We're helping companies access an on-demand workforce, freelance gig-based workforce, instead of having to hire an individual full-time. They can purchase a campaign from us. It routes out the tasks to our network of freelancers, and then we get it done.
So any company from any part of the world can do that.
Yeah, anyone can hire freelancers on our platform using Speedlancer, yeah.
So what is the process?
So we concierge everything. So you speak to one of our concierges, tell us about the campaign or project that you need done. If you're a marketing agency or a marketing team, those are who we help the most. It could be a content marketing campaign, a thought leadership process, webinar production, podcasting, where we do the editing, transcribing, captioning. Then we have people coming in, listen to the podcast, writing blog posts about them, creating social media snippets around them, helping to syndicate it out. So that's like one example, but we have dozens or probably over 100 different types of workflows that companies can order from us.
So how many companies are using your service?
We've had over 1,600, probably close to 2,000 customers to date, but our model has changed so many times. It started off as like a task-based model where we were almost competing with Fiverr, and it's progressed to more of a higher end service and retainer based service. So customers pay us a few $1,000s a month. And so we have substantially less clients now than 1,600, unfortunately, but hopefully one day we will get there.
Awesome. So how many people are working in Speedlancer?
We have about 500 freelancers on our platform. Not all of them are active, and what we're finding at the moment is because of the COVID situation, the workforce is drastically changing. So our methods of hiring and recruiting freelancers has to change. So we're currently in the process of working that out, which is a good challenge, I guess. It means we've got enough work that we need more freelancers, but at the same time, it's not the ideal challenge either.
So you said you're giving in different for different purposes for the company needs. Uh, so web-based projects, leadership, or podcasting. So which niche? I mean, which one have more? Uh, I mean, which one have more needs for the companies?
We do a lot of content marketing work. I think that's a really good one for us. That's something where companies enjoy using our platform because we're able to assemble a team. So as opposed to having one content writer, they can use us, and we give them a researcher, a writer, someone to plan the whole campaign, a designer, even an animator. And so we're bringing more of the story to life rather than just giving them a content writer with not much experience.
So is this remote?
Yeah, everything's remote. Yeah.
So how people will connect with you? How companies will connect with you?
So we have an integration with Slack. Customers come to us, they install our Slack integration, and they can connect with the freelancer directly through our integration. That's actually the basis for the SaaS application that we're building. It's this automated project management tool, which we'll be announcing in a few months' time once we're ready to launch. And that's going to be able to put your business on autopilot, manage your whole team, remote team, and also connect people across various platforms. So from tools like ClickUp through to Slack and Skype and Microsoft Teams and WhatsApp or Rike and any project management tool that companies want to use, Trello, it'll connect them through the worker directly, no matter what platform anyone is on. So that's what we're working on. Yeah, that's what we use at Speedlancer as well. It gives people access to freelancers in no matter what platform they wish to use us on.
So how much time you take to give the workforce to the company?
How much time does it take to give when someone wants to hire someone, how long does it take to access that person? We're
Yes.
typically pretty instant because we like to stay ahead of our demand with supply or freelancers. So we should always have someone available unless the request is really random. But we're also getting better at recruiting on the fly for various types of random needs that companies might have.
And how you hire your candidate?
So we typically have an inbound supply of freelancers. So we have thousands of people in our queue. Having said that, as I mentioned, our needs have changed, so we're constantly looking at new ways of recruiting. And so that's something that we're contending with now for the new year.
So how you are able to reach millions of people?
Well, there's the question of we're a two-sided marketplace. So how do we reach millions of customers, and then how do we reach millions of freelancers? I think that the freelancers will come as the customers come. It's just a matter of how much you pay people at the end of the day. If there's work, there'll be people to do the work. So I'm less concerned about the supply side existentially. The demand side is always the challenge. So we need to reach the inflection point, making sure we're getting overwhelmed with leads, making sure we're building a really good product that's really accessible. So I think it will happen with our software actually. If enough companies use our software as the SaaS solution to manage their teams, then they might start using Speedlancer as an integration through that without needing to have heard of us through other means. So yeah, I think that's a potential possibility in terms of a bridge into companies.
So what is the response your clients are getting after taking your service?
So we have like a 94% satisfaction rate on every task. So every task that comes through, 94% of the time, it's a 4 out of 5 rating or above, which I feel is very strong. And that's a testament to the quality of our talent, the team, and the workflows themselves. When you are dealing with multiple freelancers in a campaign, though, I mean, our software does a pretty good job at managing everyone and handing off from one freelancer to the next. But at the end of the day, if you have 6 or 7 freelancers on a project and you have a 1 in 20 task failure rate, which is 5%, then you're experiencing about 1 in 2, 1 in 3 workflows have an issue associated with them. So we have pretty good satisfaction overall, but we always strive to make freelancers as reliable and as accessible as possible. That's like our core vision as a company.
So where this business understanding came for you in the age of 11?
I think listening to my dad running his business, I think was a big sort of motivation for me. I would listen in on his work calls from a young age and sort of just absorb everything that was going on. Something I really enjoyed. But I think other than that, it's probably just in my blood or something. It's my form of creative outlet, as strange as that sounds. It's like a massive game. And so it's just always been something that I've been interested in and doing.
So what you understood after implementing your thoughts for the first time?
Implementing my thoughts for the first time, as in
Yeah.
as a creative outlet into business. Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly.
Well, I think the good thing about e-commerce in particular as a way to start, and maybe even for kids to start with the support of their parents. I've never properly articulated this. It's a good question. I think the benefit of e-commerce is you can buy and sell and get an immediate feedback loop. You've got a product. Is the product valuable? Is your pricing right? Is your marketing right? It's really only those 3 core questions. And so if you buy a product and you sell it for a profit, you get a very quick lesson, very quick turnaround. If you're holding on to stock for a long period of time, well, you're not making money on it. It's probably not, one of those 3 things is not 100% right. So I think it's a really good way to start, as opposed to the form of entrepreneurship, which is creating your own product where you've got an extra thing to contend with. It's not just your marketing. It's not just your price point. It's not just the quality of the product. You don't know the quality of the product before you release it. You don't know if there's product market fit. And that's a very difficult thing to be, not just an entrepreneur, but an inventor. I think that's almost the ultimate challenge. Yeah.
So which country is using your service more?
The US and Australia. Yeah.
And what kind of projects that they came with?
Again, a lot of content marketing work, video editing, animations, design work. It's really varied as to what people use us for.
So for when it comes to candidates, how much your freelancers, how much time they spend for the projects?
We do everything pretty task-based, so we like to break things down. We don't exactly monitor how much time a freelancer is spending on a project. That's just not our KPI. We offer a task to be available, and we estimate how much we think we need to pay for it, and then we send it out to a few freelancers who we feel are relevant for that project, and then based on that, they can accept it and they're on their way. So we don't really monitor how much time they're spending on the project. We do have deadlines, but deadlines I don't think are a great indicator of how much work actually gets done. I think it's called Parkinson's theory, that work expands to fill the time that you give it. So that was one of our early iterations at Speedlancer. We were the 4-hour task marketplace. So everyone would come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're the 4-hour guy." And I have no idea how that stuck in their head. But for a long time, that's what people associated with Speedlancer when we did marketing and PR and that sort of thing. And the theory behind 4 hours was, if you give people 4 hours of work to do 8 hours of work, they can actually get it done. If you give them 12 hours of work to do 8 hours of work, it's going to take 12 hours. And I think we were right in some respects about that. But from a marketing perspective, customers didn't appreciate it. They wanted people to spend 20 hours on their task, not 4, even though the outcome was the same a lot of the time.
So what are the qualities of Speedlancer made companies to come?
Well, there's the triangle of quality, speed, and price, and they say you can achieve 2 out of 3 of those. Quality, I mean, that's a non-negotiable, and then you have speed and price. And I think customers were coming to us more for speed, but we didn't realize it. And we had, even though it was in our name, I was trying to optimize for price as much as anything. And so over time, we've just dropped the price thing almost entirely. Like, we're probably not the cheapest service, but we want to be the best and the fastest, or at least most efficient. And so that's, I think, why customers use Speedlancer over any other tool. Like, there's no recruiting process. We manage it all for you. It's a managed freelancing service where we say no to very few requests. Most things that come to us, we either have existing capability for, or we'll find a way to solve it.
You do software services?
Back end, not really. Front end, yes. So we do a lot of front end, Shopify, HubSpot, WordPress, these sorts of platforms, yeah.
And mobile applications?
We don't do too many mobile applications. I think there's more specialized agencies for those sorts of things. Technically, it is feasible for our workflows to do that, but it's just not a model that I really want to get into. There's not an abundance of leads. There's too much competition. Quality is too varied between providers. I think customers can feel that. So if I was developing a mobile app, I feel that it's only worth doing so if you already have an audience for it or a business that requires it. And those sorts of companies can probably afford a very expensive agency. So for me, it doesn't quite tick those boxes. It's also not a recurring revenue service. I mean, you can charge $50,000 for an app if you're good, but after the $50,000 is gone, then you can charge a little bit for maintenance, but it just doesn't seem like the best business for me. So yeah, we don't really do mobile apps.
You provide cloud services?
No, we don't. We could provide DevOps as a service. Anything people-based, we don't provide just software like that, no.
So what is the best service that made people to use more from you?
What is the best way for customers to use more of
Yeah,
Speedlancer services?
like you said, content marketing is one of the main thing.
Yeah, like we call it creative execution. So any form of creative work that companies need executed on, it would be a great use for Speedlancer. So e-commerce ads, agencies who need to churn out creative work, content development, like front-end development, animations, video editing, thought leadership. So that, yeah, there's a number of ways that companies can utilize us. Virtual assistant work. Yeah.
What is the minimum and maximum time?
We charge minimum $500 a month and maximum, I mean, a few $1,000s a month. So yeah.
Differs from project or
We don't do project-based work really. It's all on some form of a retainer.
it's like part of the work.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the things that people don't know still about Speedlancer?
I think that's most of it, really. I mean, if you're a marketing agency or a marketing team and you need on-demand services, Speedlancer is a really great addition or extension of your team. That's why I developed it, because I was in the outsourcing game from an early age, and I saw that people don't know how to leverage freelancers. So using a platform like Speedlancer, I think, can only add to your team for a very minimal cost. And I think that's kind of an essential thing to have when you're starting a new team, or you have an existing team and you want to take it to the next level. And I think that our software is going to enable companies to operate far more efficiently than they've ever seen. So we're really excited about that. We've got an amazing CTO who's a professor of AI with 150 published AI papers. So we're really excited about our SaaS software and to see what types of companies utilize our software to run their teams on autopilot more, which is going to be really interesting to see.
Content marketing, video, audio, or text?
Sorry?
Which content?
What do you mean?
You said content marketing. Is that video
Oh,
or
what
audio?
format? Yeah, all of the above. We do a lot of written content, a lot of video editing, animation. We do audio like podcasts, so kind of any content format. Yeah.
And you
Sometimes we
work
mix
on
them all together in a campaign.
social media too.
Yeah, I mean, everything's part of social media. People say, what about SEO? Well, anything you push out there is going to be SEO. It's going to be useful for SEO. It's going to be useful for social. It'll be useful for all of your marketing activities, case studies to send to clients. It helps with sales. I mean, content is kind of everything these days.
What's the best quality compliment that you got for the service?
The one that sticks out is when we launched, I was living in San Francisco and I had a friend who had to move out of our share house because he couldn't afford rent. So he moved out to a lower income neighborhood. And I saw him a couple of months later and he said, Adam, I have to give you a hug. I said, why? He said, well, since becoming a freelancer on your platform, I can now afford to pay my rent. I was like, wow, that's cool. And yeah, I forgot about that. That was a pretty special moment.
So, what are the coming projects? The upcoming projects of yours?
That's the SaaS software that we're building, the autopilot for companies. Um, Other than that, just continuing to promote Speedlancer and get it out there to more and more companies.
You have customers from India, my country.
We certainly have some service providers from India. Um, it's not by any means the majority of where our freelance force is. I'd say the majority are US based, Australia, Eastern Europe, some designers in South America. India, we often use for data entry, development, those sorts of services, as long as the quality is up there. Um, Companies, we have had a few companies from India utilize us, which I find interesting because there's just so much talent available in India, but I guess it's difficult to find it. So we don't really focus on India right now, but I do think that our platform has opportunity kind of in any region of the world.
So, US companies are going to get surveys. I mean, freelancers from other countries. That is
Yeah.
how this freelancer works.
Yeah, I mean, it's often local, so a lot of US based talent. Just depends on where the quality talent is, like if we need a content marketer, I mean, they have to be native English. So they're probably going to be US based or Australian or wherever the client is for local knowledge. Designers can be anywhere. We don't really mind or discriminate as long as their portfolio is really top notch. Developers, again, like we don't mind where they're based as long as their English is very good, they're reliable, their quality is up there, their pricing is reasonable. So yeah, it just really depends.
You give tech support.
No, we don't specialize in that. No.
Okay. So coming to the payment, you said about the charge that you put for companies. What about the freelancers?
What was the question?
How much you pay for freelancers?
I mean, it's hard to quantify because we do a lot of task-based work, but I mean, a task can be up to $1,000. It can be a few $100s. It can be $50. It can be rarely, I mean, $20 if it's a tiny editing task or whatever. But um, yeah, it just really depends. I mean, I think often we pay upwards of like $50 an hour if you put it like that. Just depends on what the market dictates is needed for a project.
So everything happens in your website.
On our platform, yeah, not necessarily the website. We have an integration, a Slack integration, and our team concierges everything. So everything happens through our platform. Yeah.
Are you a part? Are you a podcaster too?
A podcaster?
Yeah.
I do have a podcast. I don't do enough. I'm not tenacious like you are. I have a podcast with maybe like 10 episodes on it, and I get lazy. Yeah.
So you help even for podcasters.
Yeah, we help podcasters with their editing, but also the promotion, like writing blog posts around each episode, creating social media graphics around it, um, transcribing it, captioning video. Like if it's a video podcast, we'll caption it. Um, yeah.
So do you have anything to say to my audience who are watching and listening to our conversation from anywhere on this planet?
Well, tell me a little bit about your audience, and yeah, I'm curious. Who is your audience largely, and why do they listen? Why do they keep coming back?
Uh, myself, I'm a software engineer. I did a master's in software engineering and graduation in computer science and engineering. I have more than 40,000 followers in all the social media platforms, and I took more than 400 plus interviews of different country people who are into different professions. But from last 3 to 4 months, I'm taking only technical professionals who are into cloud, AWS, Microsoft, Google, all platforms. Mainly, I'm focusing these days on technical people, and you come under the technology. So my followers, because I have a tech background, so all my followers are tech, mostly 90%.
Very cool. Um, yeah, I mean, I would be yeah, that's really cool and interesting. I don't know of too many influencers focused on like purely the tech engineering space, so I think that's a really cool place to be in. Any advice for your followers? I mean, I think now is the time to just try to launch things on the side. I think it's always scary. I think there are ways of eliminating risk, like lowering how much capital you have to spend on a project and increasing your mindset or expanding your mindset as to what you can gain from a project. Like you can gain a network, you can gain soft skills, life experience. It doesn't need to purely be financial goals. And I think when starting something new, it's nice to sort of align yourself with, okay, why am I doing this? Is it to get rich? Okay, that's great. But what if you don't? And so that's why I suggest lowering the downside and sort of expanding the upside potential, so that really it's a no-brainer to start something new. Um, Especially if you're coding it yourself, you can only gain resume experience and such. So yeah, that would be my advice as a non-technical person who surrounds myself with technical people,
Mhm.
and who has always worked with engineers. I've hired my first engineer when I was 14. So I've worked with engineers for years now, and it's always interesting. I describe it like walking around the street as a blind person. I can get around, but it's not ideal.
Awesome. So I'll put your website link in the description of this video. People who finds our video and can see your work and the service that you're providing.
Perfect. Sounds great. Thanks
Also,
for
I'll
having me.
put on Also, I'll put on the screen your website. People
Okay.
can see it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Cheers.
And have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Not yet, no. I'm excited to become a follower.
I'm also on podcast. So as a entrepreneur, what do you say? Because you're working from since 11. You became a businessman. You understand the international business. So as an observer, me talking with different country people who are into different professions, having a technical background, if I want to work in tech in coming days, how this experience is going to, like, great people like you who are already in the industry, trying to understand what you people are doing and trying to show to my audience all these information, how this is going to help for me in tech industry if I work.
To help you personally?
Yeah.
Well, I think the number one thing is just adding value to people, connecting them. You've got a vast and varied audience, but also a interviewer base. So with you, you're spending so much time speaking with everyone, you can then become a connector. Whether it's a venture capitalist, an advisor, a CTO type person. One of your benefits is you're a programmer who can talk to people. And I've always said programmers who can talk to people, you must not underestimate your value in the market. Because if you're an engineer, the vast majority of engineers, not to stereotype, I'm just saying, like, the types of people who sit in front of their computer who are very good engineers cannot necessarily talk with people. And I think if you are able to talk to people, you're able to sell yourself, you're able to connect with people, you're able to have a large vision and articulate that vision. I mean, that's a very strong proposition. And then bring it to life. Like, this is a huge value add that you can bring to any company. So I think you can afford maybe to be selective with who you work with, but lead with value first.
So at last, about Speedlancer, few words.
I think I've said pretty much everything. I don't know what else I can really add about Speedlancer. I'm excited for the new year. I think we've now got some product market fit happening in terms of customers paying subscription. Our margins are holding up. We're providing value to our clients. We know a little bit more about who our clients are. So it's a matter of how do we get it out there to more and more companies.
Awesome. So advance Happy New Year, Adam. Keep going, keep doing the awesome work, and keep inspiring people.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to subscribing to your show.
Can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yeah, you have permission to use anywhere you want.
Yeah, that's what I can. I also put on my this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Pleasure. See you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.